maybe 2 or 3, and then if you know you're going to have to come every week for 10 weeks, a little pass would be helpful. Especially if you're elderly on a pension or an income support or something like that. It's all right if you've got tons of money, it's not a consideration. I know if somebody else can bring you and drop you off, then pick you up afterwards, and there's no car parking involved.
I think if you were having to visit at least once a month, so perhaps 12 times a year, you'd probably expect to have some sort of a concessionary discount.
Well, I mean, obviously, it depends on how many times you're coming, isn't it? Like for me, this month I've been here about 3 times. So I should literally have gotten reduced, car parking.
A minimum 2, I suppose. But the thing is that 9 times out of 10, with the greatest respect, I think that sometimes they actually are late on the appointments and the hospitals get blocked up, and so you're costing you more money.
It depends a lot on how long you're coming in, really. I think how long each appointment is. Obviously, we don't begrudge a little bit of money if you're just coming in for a checkup, but if they're long appointments, for instance, say you were having some sort of chemotherapy or something, I think that should be taken into account.
Or perhaps they could be given a sort of special card beforehand, and stamp this for the first visit, stamp it for the next, which they will have paid perhaps a set amount, £5 for 10 visits or something. Yes?
That's a difficult one to answer, really, depending on how long you'd be in there. But I think if you paid as you went out and there was some sort of token or something like that to tell you that you didn't have to pay quite so much would be helpful.
I suppose after a couple of days, if it's obvious they've got to come very regularly, let's put it like that, if they're having treatment or someone's in hospital for a long stay, then it would be useful for the family to have a pass or something, that they don't have to pay, because it does work out quite expensive.
Mainly elderly or disabled or people with very long-term illnesses.
Those with chronic illnesses who have very regular visits to the hospital, usually under duress and stress, and the added issue about parking the car when they can find a space outside this hospital is an added burden for them as well. Is that fair?
It's difficult to say because this area you can't generalise and say sort of the elderly or low-income people, because the amount of money people have around here isn't sort of age or gender specific.
Maternity bit around
Maternity, definitely.
And then how do you govern that? It's difficult, isn't it, really? Because once a car's parked, it's just you don't know where they are or who they are. So it's a difficult thing to enforce, isn't it, really?
I think there should be a reduced rate for those people. I mean, if you're out of work, you get a certain amount of money, but it doesn't pay for £5.20 single way here, to get to the hospital.
Oh yes, definitely. I think that people that have got relatives or family on the oncology wards, I think they should have either free parking or extended parking at a lower cost, and maybe the A&E patients that come and drop sometimes patients off and then they have to come back, I think they should be reduced as well.
Yeah, I think like most things, elderly, if they're on a pension and they've got to worry about finding money every day to come and visit someone, that's probably quite a worry.
Or if they've got an appointment and they have to pay £2 or £4 every day, all adds up at the end of the week.
Yes, I do. I think old age pensioners should have a free parking, and as well as what we've said about the people that were in hospital a longer time.
Well, obviously I say OAP should be a bit reduced, but I think everyone should be reduced. It is quite expensive, especially when you're visiting.
Well, I'm a bit biased, but oncology patients I feel definitely, and also possibly disabled, I would think those two classes definitely, and obviously there are other very serious illnesses, and just depends on the patient, really, doesn't it?
Probably just those where they've got people that have been in for long periods of time. I suppose like with supermarkets and things like that, you might want specific car parking spaces available for people with like young children or the elderly that may not have disabled badges, just so that it's a bit closer to the entrance and things like that. But